Hi Martin, you right? Yeah, I'm good, thanks you. Hello. So I'm just organising stuff, give me a minute. No, not flipping. And yes, sharing. Did I share my thing? No, I didn't. Did I sort my yes and no. Yeah, I'm back at work, and I've done I finished my CV, my new CV, so that's done. Just give me a minute. Hello, just give me a minute. If I flip around the camera. For everyone coming to my live, hasn't met me before, I'm a Latter-day Saint and a Goth, as you can see. This is a religious Q&A. Sorry. If this religious Q&A is really questions about Christianity or about the Church of Churches West Latter-day Saints, any question you like, or it's a political live because I run a political page called Goths, Centrism. You can openly talk about politics here, or any social viewpoints you have that are not mainstream. You can openly talk about it on this particular live, which I do every other Friday. Or we talk about other stuff. I'm a gamer. I like music. I like Gothic literature. I like Gothic subculture. I can chat you about that. So there's that. And I don't follow a man that contradicts scripture. So while I'm doing one, so I'm trying to share, and it's he's talking about Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith doesn't actually contradict scripture at all. In fact, a lot of his teachings found in the Doctrines and Covenants can be traced back to early Catholic theology, including as far back as the Armenian Apocrypha, which got canonized by the Catholic Church in the 7th century AD. And obviously it was no knowledge back then, but by the time that Joseph Smith was alive, the Armenian Apocrypha had, from what we know historically, it had gone missing for centuries, and then after he passed away, it's now become available to read as a PDF, which means it's being refound and re-uploaded. Translation of scripture can be fallible, yes. It's like if you look at the way scripture is read today, between the 9th and 14th century, there was the introduction of what we call the reading pause, which is the commas and commas, full stops and things like that, was prior to the 9th century AD, right through to the ancient languages. There was a process called continue writing, and from what we understand, there was barely any full stops. So how things were read scripturally were very different to how they're read today, because there was no pause. So how it read, it was literally like you're literally reading somebody scribing something that's like a story being told, and there was no pause. So how the pause interprets how we read it actually changes the meaning of it, of how the translation of it is. Hello. So I'm just trying to share and it's not working. Let me share. Got one. I go into that. Do. That's so bizarre. Why are all those guys gone that I was following? That was political. Oh, sorry, I'm just getting annoyed. Okay. If a Christian can stop, yeah, they can stop sinning. Yes, I do actually. I do feel close to God. Hi, Courage. You're right. Oh, that's today, Courage. It's you can't. It's more. There's sinning and then there's transgression, which is what the Latter-day Saint belief of it is, where it's like we can transgress and we can sin. Transgression is where you act with good intention, but you ultimately can harm someone, whether it's on intent, which is completely unintentional. So this is why we see that Adam and Eve transgressed, because they were innocent of or fully understanding what Lucifer was like. They didn't fully understand what they were walking into. So Lucifer had full, what they call now a what's the word? Had power over Eve and Adam, because he was a position of power that they didn't fully understand, so they were naive. And then you had God, who was also in a position of power that they understood but not completely. So that's where we see transgression and sinning. Whilst with sinning, it's you are doing something intentionally to harm someone. So even though you may think you're not doing harm to yourself or someone involved in your life, you are doing Jesus harm and God harm, because Jesus passed away for our sins. And by sinning, with the intention of not caring for why he passed away for our sins, it's you are sinning against him, essentially. So it's you. Oh goodness sake. So it's the whole purpose of it. Hello, jump scare. Is to avoid sinning for as much as possible. Obviously, it's not possible to fully stop or falling back in or transgressing up until new bodies. Today's I disagree. Sorry. There can be sometimes, but Jesus sin. Yes, I mean it's very hard to avoid. But that's why I said there's transgression and there's sinning. I mean, technically, if you think about it, when an actor is preparing for a role to perform a role in the play or film, if there's intimate scenes in it, that's to God sinning, because you have to imagine, as an actor, you have to imagine yourself in a fictional body, as a fictional character, becoming intimate with another fictional character, even though you have no emotional attachment to them. It's just the very thought process of it is an act of sinning. But it's whether it's you can be empathetic. This is why I see it's two categories in acting. It's sympathetic acting, and then there's empathetic acting. When you're sympathetic towards the role, you can step into the character's shoes and then step away and then walk away and leave it at the door. Whereas when you start becoming, this is where the danger of method actor comes in. It's like you start to empathize with your character and start getting too involved in it, and that can actually lead to sin, because you want to get so immersed in that role, you can then no longer separate yourself from the character. What was it? Hello. Most of us do. Yes I do. I felt drained the other day, actually, because I'm actually in the mode of insomnia at the moment, where even though I'm doing everything that I can to try and induce sleep, it's like my body's refusing to sleep, so I don't get to sleep until like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I feel rubbish afterwards, like in the next morning. So I end up feeling drained. Yeah, I know. I have actually started introducing. Oh, did I cook? Did I mention I was cooking? We're talking about food. I did cook cauliflower cheese earlier, homemade. I haven't had that in a while. But now I'm absolutely starving because it's a proper vegetarian meal, vegetarian meal, and I haven't had that in ages without because I can't have vegetarian meals now without feeling like I'm not fed myself properly. When I used to just live off it, because I used to be a vegetarian for like nearly a decade, and then I just couldn't do it full time anymore. But yeah, I started introducing beryllium root tea to my routine, and I found this out afterwards. But when you start using valerian root, you have to inform your doctor if you get pregnant and you're taking it, because it could actually have adverse effects on the pregnancy. So I'm like, oh, thanks for letting me know in advance. Because it's like if you're taking it, you have to then they got to be careful with anaesthetic and that as well. Where your live fest effects? No. Sorry. Flash gone. What have I got? Oh, I've got something different. I've got glow stick. I haven't had that before. Yeah, I hope it does well, because it was freezing yesterday, not so bad today, but I still felt it. And I really am sensitive to the heat. Cold, I mean. No, I haven't got a different account. It's the same account. Because on my, this is why I'm not a typical Latter-day Saint. Because a lot of Latter-day Saint profiles, they talk a lot about the church, whilst even though I talk about Christianity and talk about my faith and stuff and do funny skits, and that's like just to add humour to the scriptures. I also use it to do singing and other things, because it's linked to my art business as well. But I try and keep it separate. Oh, you're talking about the Caribbean Blue one? Why did it make you laugh? Oh, right. Hi, Roman. Hi, Drew. You being alright? You actually came in a good time, because it's political Friday today. You should, it depends on the ward or branch I go to. The branch I'm in is stricter than the one in the ward I was at down south, but it's not too strict. Um, I will say though that I have been told by my bishop to try and wear a bit of colour in the temple, and to not wear crosses, but that's the only thing I've been asked to do when I go in. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, because it's in our church. Even though Latter-day Saints can wear crosses, we have to be careful as to why we wear it. Yeah, I mean, at the moment I'm wearing blue, but you can't see it properly because it's dim light. I can't have bright lights in my room. Um, I mean, I found out there's nothing in the temple policy to not wear black. You're allowed to wear black and that, and there's nothing against it. So I think the bishop was just being, you need to have more colour in your life. No. Wear colour. Oh, I could do. Yeah. I have got accented, like colour accented clothing. Like the scarf that I got at the moment's got a bit of orange and red in it, but it's cross, so it's a Christian scarf that I bought from charity, which is a miracle. But I've got, so it's accented. The colour's there, but I'm just like, but black is slimming. I like black. That is really weird that so I will go back to answering questions in a minute. I'm just trying to go through so I can invite political people up to get the ball rolling, but you never know. Oh, sorry. Hello. Hello. Hi. Aloha. Yeah, same. We're back. Do I have anything? Yeah, I've got CDs stored away, and I've bought some more because I'm trying to build up my goth rock collection. So yeah, that I have got them. I actually saw that mini discs are making a comeback as well. They say never discuss religion or politics. Who does? Do you about the church? Don't ask me that. I've got too many. Trying to. I think I can boil it down to Dead Can Dance. Oh no, sorry. I don't think I can say that on TikTok. Dead Can Dance. Let's see if I get restricted for this. Ghost Dance. Susie and the Banshees. The Mission. What else? There's another band that's got into recently. Oh, Birthday Massacre. I like them. Like when I actually get, because I know they released a new album recently, but trying to find that album is ridiculous. What else? Oh. Dream Disciple, I like. Yeah. The Mission, I do like, but recently they've gone a bit weird with their politics. In terms of, in their recent album, they've released a song about veganism, and they're trying to promote veganism. When it's like you're Christian, and it says in scriptures that you can abstain from meat for so long, but you have to go back to eat it. So I just found that direction very weird, and it kind of put me off. So I'm waiting for the album to come out so I can avoid that song and then listen to the rest. That's just normal. Hello. Oh, Jesus. Nope, sorry. Am I artificial intelligence? Do I look artificial to you? I'm spilling tea. Ooh. Do you have tots? What is tots? What is that? I don't know what it is. I can't keep up with this lingo. I've got tattoos. That I can understand. Yeah, I've got a cross on my right arm, and I found a over 1,000-year-old early Christian tattoo, which is referencing like the crucifixion of Christ and the Alpha and Omega, and then I've got a tattoo that's, I'm going to sneeze. I've got a tattoo that's showing fandom to Johnny Depp, which is based on his Brave film. Hi Lane, you're right. And I've got an Eye of God. Thank you. I went to Susie in the Banshee gig years ago. She went topless. Oh yeah, I've seen the photos. I've seen the photos of, I think, of that gig. Because, isn't that tour? Because, yeah, she had a habit, like, during the mid-70s, late 70s or the 80s. Excuse me, of just going topless. Hello. Oh, sorry. Drew Wolf blind me. Oh, yeah. That's what you're talking about, yeah. Yeah, she was very controversial back then, because this was around the time she was wearing the swastika. Obviously, she doesn't wear it now. She regrets it, but yeah. Mm. Hello. I want to sneeze again. So annoying. No, she didn't do it on every show. It's just a particular tour. There will be a particular tour where she would. Hello. Yeah, most times, most Goths were there. They was wearing t-shirt and jeans. And I also read that the Bauhaus did a concert where they literally wore football scarves all evening. Hello. Yeah. Oh. Hello. Hello. Stand in the way of control. I can't remember. It sounds like something that Killing Joke would do. It would be either Killing Joke or there are members who do perform concerts, as in outside the church. So they are like, I know somebody, who is in a Christian band in our branch. They're quite big in the US, from what I know, but it's more country. That is, we don't there isn't any LDS goth band, sadly. Yeah, that's as far as I'm aware. There's not. I've actually tried looking, and there's not, from what I've seen, which is a shame. I feel I'm having an allergic reaction to my tea. I found out that I'm allergic to tree pollen, and tree pollens tree pollen is usually found in male trees, and a lot of places are over planting male trees, which has actually increased allergies in people, because there's an imbalance, so there's not enough female trees to go around, so the seeds with the pollen try and find ways of reproducing with the wrong things, and I'm actually allergic to that process. So I think I'm allergic to my tea because the plant that is used in it is actually from a male tree. And if it's got traces of pollen in it, I'm a goner. It's like I tried. This is why I'm not an atypical Latter-day Saint. Hello. Where was I going with this? It's like I tried to make potpourri with pine cones that I found, because they weren't good enough to plant, because they floated. So I made it into a potpourri, and it smelled great. It's just I was allergic to that. But the only thing I find I'm not allergic to is like with the remainder of the potpourri water, I turned it into a cleaning spray, because pine is antibacterial. Yeah, I can actually use antibacterial spray, but I just can't use it anything else. And that's why I think I'm allergic to tea. I can't drink it. Yeah, it's easy to make. If you get a big pot, like a simmering pot. So if you heard of a simmering pot, get a simmering pot. Put pine cones. You can mix pine cones with cinnamon or other forms of naturally scented wood bark, as long as, because the cinnamon is obviously a bark tree, a cinnamon tree. But so if you find something in the family, you can use that. You can add cloves, star anise, and things like that, and just brew it for 20 minutes. It turns it into a simmering formula, and what you do is you take the remnants of it and turn it into potpourri, and then the liquid you can then let it cool off and you put in the bottle. Yeah, it's good once you get into it. It's just, you have to be outdoors sort of person to pick up these things. Not really. Nothing like that, sadly, that I want to. It's like, I found that there's a fruit here in the UK that you can literally turn into a pie. It's got the same density as pumpkin puree. It does the same thing, but where you can find it in the UK, I don't know. But you have to let it ferment. Yeah, when I find a good deal, find a good deal. I'm actually on I've had to go over onto Vinted, because there's actually a decline in eBay at the moment in sales. Because I sell on eBay as well. So I've moved over to Vinted, and I found that I'm getting more sales and finding more things on Vinted than I am eBay now. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I'm just gonna put music on. Hello. No, my destiny, a final story. Time is running out, and I'm out on the other side. Number darkness turn the dark. Don't you dare when you close my eyes. Oh, that on the road I stumbled. It gets more traction because it's not, you don't get a lot of shadow banning on Vinted, and the algorithm is not affected. So when somebody uploads something, you know about it, and it's literally immediate. Dreams, I lay, never tell me down. I pray, never to get out. Yes, it is. Yeah. Night. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, fire, never tonight. My dear, fire, never tonight. Oh, my fucking road, I stumble. I'm in my face, and I'm very. Hello. Night is coming out. Without you there, we're gonna die. I pray, never to get out. I pray, never number to get out of my light of the night. I pray. Number to get out. I pray. Number to get out of my light of the night. To revive. Fire tonight. Revive. Martier. Night. Revive. Martier. It's a band called Lunatic Soul. It's a folk rock band which is inspired by goth rock, but the guy who leads it, Maurice Duda, is Polish. He's also part of the progressive rock movement or genre, which he does Riverside and Lunatic Soul. So it's basically Maurice Duda under Lunatic Soul. To revive, I want to the light. To revive, the Lunatic Soul project that he does is very interesting because he includes a lot of Christian and other religious outlooks like reincarnation and things like that, and it's like it's a literal a story cycle of a story. Hello. For those that are coming to my lives that haven't come across my lives before, you can call me Animus. I'm a Latter-day Saint and a Goth. It's really a religious Q&A chat normally. It's going to about Christianity. You can ask me questions on that. You can ask me questions about, if you want to, about the Church with Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You ask me questions about that. Or it's a themed line live today. It happens every other Friday. It's a political theme because I run a political page called the Goths for Centrism. So if you want to talk about politics today on this particular live, you can do. We can talk about that as well as religion. I go by Animus. Unless somebody knows me really well, I do not give out my name on here, though there will be people who do know my name. And Animus is also tied to my business because I call myself Animus, which means soul. I mean, really, because I'm a woman, I should be going by Anima, because Anima is the feminine version of Animus, but it's just a soul is a soul. I mean, yeah. I mean, the intention with the political lives, because the lives that I've been seeing on TikTok, they get so heated. It's like with other religious debates on here. They get really heated as well. So I'm trying to introduce a political live that will actually allow for open conversation. And because I want to avoid tension at all costs. I just want to talk to people and allow them a space to talk. It's a bit like in the UK, we've got a because I'm always curious as to where they come to where they are, you know. But it's like there's a place in the UK, I think it's in London, where they've got a political corner, where regardless of your political religious beliefs, you can go to that little corner and literally just talk about how you feel politically, religiously, and it draws people in. And I want to make it that's the intention of my direction is to have a political corner where people can talk about and debate properly, which is, something that Charlie Kirk wanted to do, and original intention of the university debates. It's like in the UK, there is actually a law that was passed in 1974 which prevents anyone who actually politically doesn't align with the university's political stances. They're not allowed to be on campus. So we don't have political debates over here like we on campuses like they do in the US. Yeah, I think they have a law similar in the US, but obviously in the US it's different because they allow for campus debates, which means they go over that law. But over here you can't do it, and we're trying to find ways of actually changing the law, so we can actually have these kind of debates. Because the issue with that is that law now is actually made universities, in our universities in the UK, susceptible to echo chambers, because all you're going to hear is their own views over and over and over and over and over again, and it's just going to drive people nuts. In a way, yeah, because I was actually thinking about it recently, where there's two different types of centrists. Oh yeah, I don't support extremism on either side. They are literally the same animal, just wearing different skins, I swear. But the thing with centrism is that you got two different types. You got the apolitical centrist, which is somebody who is not engaging politically in any sense, but obviously is just keeping an eye on things. And I have met people like that, like Johnny Depp, for example. He's a political person, but even though politically he's centrist, because he doesn't support either party, because he sees they are both flawed, and he is correct, they are both flawed in their own way, but Democrats more so, and Labour Party more so over here. Whereas you got me, who wants to vote, because obviously that is my right to vote, but I've actually fallen into being apolitical, because I, at the present moment, do not feel confident in any of the political representatives that are available to us now. So I don't feel confident enough to vote for them. So this is why I can't say why people don't like centrists, because we literally can be one day we're voting, the next we're not. No, no. I have been keeping an eye on Restore UK and Advance UK, which are former members of the Reform Party running it, but Reform UK isn't less so a political party, but a more a complementer, so they will support. Advance looks alright, but because it's such a small minority, it's a schism of Reform anyway, if you look at it. So we don't know. change the music over, hang on. The members of Reform themselves that are outside Farage I'm fine with. It's Farage I don't fully trust. Because Farage, he's got the gift of gab. But he doesn't. He tends to support things once it's been out for a while instead of he was, as Benjamin Carl Benjamin said, which is Sargon Ricard. Well, I might get restricted from mentioning his name. He's a bit of a controversial figure. He said that Nigel Farage rides the waves, but doesn't actually lead. I found grace. I wouldn't call him sinister, but actually no, I retract that. The way he treated Robert Lowe, was very sneaky and sly, because he accused him of things that he didn't do. So yeah. I mean, with that, it's like we find out he was originally a punk as well. So Nigel Farage, he was originally a punk. It's like, how can you go from being upfront and not caring about what people think about you politically to suddenly becoming a snake? It's a bit. Hello. Hello. I think it will. I think got 2 more years of Labour. Actually no. I think it's they're in talks now of forcing him out, but who take him over? I don't know. Yes, they are. That's me. I used to support Labour. I really did. But I can after this round, I'll never be able to vote for them. Never be able to vote for them again. Ever. I don't trust them. Ow. Oh, did you see what came out about Trump today? Right. Yeah, it's a very interesting turn. But then from what the White House has published afterwards is that they're saying that he didn't intend for it to come across like that. But it's like, when you got Democrat supporters inciting legal methods to obstruct the government that's in, is technically treason, and treason is dealt with by the penalty. The stars, where angels are, always but far away. Stars, where angels are, they love you, tonight. Yeah, what do you mean by deep? Sorry, are you talking about the song, or are you talking about? Yeah, it's politically, yeah, it's very, very dark. But you know, oh, my leg's going out. Hang on, be right back. Oh, I'm back. Tomorrow. Oh, ouch. Oh, be so glad when I get a laptop. No, I'm not anxious. I'm just in pain because my leg's gone. Hello. Actually, this is quite a good angle because you can see the back. Come on, charge. Oh yeah, because I had a headache. Because I was working in the room that was too cold to work in, so I got a headache, and I just felt like rubbish. Yeah, it did. Right, the headache went when I slept it off. Yeah. No, they're not nice. Hello. Oh, sorry. Oh. Dark angels come to me. I don't know what they believe. And I'm that someone never see. What will I do tomorrow? I've got coursework to finish. So I'll be doing that. And I'll be doing a live later, which should be normal, so not themed or anything. What about you? Oh, you definitely are, yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah, I'll go clean at some point. Yeah, because, yeah, people... Hi, Brooke, Briars, sorry. Well, what was I going with this? Yeah, people started opening their eyes, I'd say just before the pandemic, and it was during the pandemic that they starting to see things for what was really going on. But then, because as Jeffree Stars pointed out, people started going a little bit loopy in 2013, and I can contest to that because I was around when the extremism, political extremism, was actually taking ahead again. And the jokes that he used to be able to pull, they started to get offended over it. And that was 2013, so over a decade ago, and then it was around 2015 you actually started to see it degrading even more. Tonight I find in your arms so tired. Oh. Yes, we do, yeah. Pre-existence is just talking about what the souls were doing prior to be giving mortal bodies. And it goes back to the story where so I'm trying to work out if this is too loud or not. Hang on, I'll change the volume. Yes, better now. Yeah, pre-existence is referring to the souls that were around prior to beginning mortality, and the origin of the story goes is that during this pre-existence there was a council. So even though God knew how the plan of salvation was going to work, he allowed all involved within the Elohim, the council, to have a say about how they wanted things to go. And Lucifer was one of those people that came forward with a plan of salvation. So it was giving the idea of choice. And so Lucifer was said to want to be the world's Messiah, instead of Christ, and how his viewpoint, how his way of being the Messiah would work was that he would control people to evade the loss of would avoid the loss of control. Whilst Jesus, as God foresaw, Jesus, as God foresaw what happened, is that Jesus put forward the plan of salvation as God wanted it to be, and God said, "This is the plan that we were going to go with anyway. But thank you for your participation, Lucifer." Because what was he? I mean, if you look at the biblical scriptures, it's slightly more complicated than that. Because obviously, as we know, Lucifer didn't just want to be the world's Messiah. He wanted to overthrow God and become God and replace God, which is where that's the things get accused of doing, which we do not want to replace God, because we know if we do, we'll get booted out. If you want to think about it this way, the council meeting of the plan of salvation about where it's going to go precedes the fallout between Lucifer and God, because that may, by the looks of it, as a convert's point of view, it was the events leading up to the fall. So it wasn't the full cause of it, it was the leading up to. And then you look at the position of power that Lucifer had. He was the first seraphim, and the role of the seraphim is to cleanse before arrival in heaven, or before you are in the presence of God. So when you look at when prophets were in God's presence post the fall, the seraphim will be there to cleanse them in his presence. So if you look at it from that sense, Lucifer was a seraphim because that was his role, and he was an arch-seraphim because he was the firstborn of the seraphim, like Michael was the firstborn of the messengers, which is why he's called the arch-messenger. Where was I going with this? So if you look at the way Lucifer acts, he does everything opposite to his original role because he doesn't cleanse anymore, he taints. And God cursed him with that. He would, because he had broken Adam and Eve's covenant with God by leading them astray. God cursed him with, not being able to live in his glory again, ever. Which is why angels or messengers or spiritual heavenly bodies, when they fall, they get hard punishments. But so that's essentially what pre-existence is. Yeah, in fact, from what is said, the heavenly bodies, once they sin, that is it. They are sent straight to hell. There is no redemption for them because they are spirits and they are not susceptible to the flesh, whilst we are. No, they can't. I mean, in a way, that kind of correlates with like the atom death, which is an atom. They call it the atom death, but it's not actually death. It becomes unstable, explodes or implodes, and then finds itself reformed into a new variant of itself. So it's a continuous cycle because an atom can't physically die. So even when you think there's a nuclear weapon explodes, the atoms are supposedly die or unalive. But in reality, they haven't. They've just become unstable, exploded because they were commanded to explode, because that's the instruction of a bomb. But they haven't actually unalive. They're just having to. They've basically repaired itself, and if you look at the way things repaired, repair can actually cause change in itself. Oh, right. Hello. Yeah, so I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. Because when I go into depth about stuff, I can even confuse my fiance. And he's like, I have no idea what you just said, but good for you. Yeah, that's nice. Have I ever? Yeah, I have. It was when I fully fully converted back to him. The night that Satan came, where Satan admitted to me that he was Satan, that I looked up towards God and said, I'm sorry. And that was the first time I ever cried out to him. Even when I was a young Christian as a kid, I didn't cry out to him like that until like I was 29. Hi Truth, you're right. I did actually, yes, he is, yeah. I did actually come up with, because for some reason, I'm a night owl, and then I get my ideas like in the middle of the night when I should be sleeping. It's like God gives me epiphanies in the middle of the night for some reason. It's just, I had a thought on it, like the Seraphim and like how they act, and from what you see biblically and non-canonly in the Book of Enoch, if they are present, I mean, this is the idea came about when I was looking into purgatory, because obviously purgatory is something that we were talking about yesterday on another member's live. Purgatory, understood by the Catholics today, is a form of pre-existence because you were in purgatory before you were given the body. However, in the olden texts, purgatory is a state that can occur in death and in life, because purgatory is when you are cleansed of your sins, and you can therefore experience purgatory during a baptism. And the heavenly bodies that put forward purgatory are the Seraphim, which actually had me come to the conclusion, are Seraphim actually present during baptisms to cleanse you? Because to be cleansed you have to be put through water and fire, and the Seraphims are called the burning ones. So it means that they have to be present during baptism, and it actually will explain my personal experience, because when I had laying of the hands, which is my confirmation of baptism, I felt spiritual hands on my head that was warm. Hi Dave, you're right. Sorry. Moxley, what do you think about how, from what I've seen on the majority of Latter-day Saints people, they treat gay people like no other. They don't treat them any differently. However, you can get the occasional homophobic member. Like, you can find homophobic people everywhere, regardless of denomination. But the majority of those I met, we, and myself included, we do not care that you're gay or lesbian. The issue that I have is with the actual community itself, the organisation that leads the community, because the organisation is corrupt because for its allowance of corruption to happen. Such as, it's the organisation that is pushing pushing the ideology onto children, when, yes, a child may question their sexuality and stuff, and their gender or sexual identity, but it's not up to an organisation, it's not up to the educational organisations to teach children this. It's down to the parents, and how they teach their children about it. As long as the parents are respectful. Obviously, if they're not respectful, that's when the school steps in, because it's there to protect the children at the end of the day. But you've got to allow the parents a chance to do stuff. And when it comes to God's perspective on homosexuality, it's he Jesus himself said that God will allow all to come to him, and when you are if you're a Latter-day Saint member who is gay or lesbian, bi, you always asked is that you have to abstain from the physical aspect of your identity, because God himself sees it as unnatural. Yeah, I've seen. Funnily enough, it's on my aunt's birthday. No, I fully understand your point that they do exist, but it's ultimately up to the parents. You got to allow the parents to educate the children on them first, and only if the parents are teaching child hatred, then the schools take over the education, so the child is then allowed access to an open mind, because parents can automatically teach them hate. But then schools are also monopolizing over the education, so they're actually removing the parents' knowledge of that subject. Like, for example, there are schools in the US that are actually teaching children of the LGBTQ plus community and the sexual side of things without parents' consent, and they're not involving the parents, which is why I have an issue with it. They shouldn't be hiding what they are teaching the children from the parents. So this is why I acknowledge that both sides can be in the wrong. I am a Christian. Yeah, I jumped. I glitched. Where am I after all? I actually glitched. Because, sorry Moxley, I'm going to answer you first. Because you can get goth Christians or Christian goths. We have, with the church does have members who have, they are struggling with their gender or sexual identity. So they are members still. I understand that originally there were some callings that trans people couldn't do. However, from what I've seen recently, there is a openly gay member who is married. He has actually been given a calling to work if I recall, to work in the temple. So there is changes happening. And I honestly don't know how it works, but there are changes happening. That's all I know. The reason why people change genders is because there is a psychological issue behind why they cannot relate to their biological sex, and it's a part of it's body dysphoria and dysphoria of of the biological body you're in. I mean, I'm sorry that the good people within the trans community are getting hatred from what's going on, but the reason why there is such bad press against the trans community is because there are particular individuals who happen to be men coming into the trans community claiming to be trans so they can get access to vulnerable people when they are not actually trans. They are usurping the community, and it's actually detrimental because people are turning against the trans community in general when it's not their fault. It's not the trans people's fault. However, it's a ripple effect, and what's now being asked of people now is that you need to speak up and protect your community from these kind of individuals. Yeah, well, I hope it is. Because I mean, obviously, ultimately, people will automatically saying, "Oh, I'm a Christian. You're Christian. You're anti this," and I was like, "I'm not anti anybody." But if any individual, regardless how you identify, start abusing people, start taking advantage of people, then I will have a problem with you. But then I can say that for anybody. I treat people on an individual basis anyway. That's just how I work. I judge you individually rather than collectively. It's like today, you probably have heard of a trans woman in Canada called Jessica. She went to a women's parlour to get a waxing done, but she wasn't. She hadn't had the reassignment surgery, and therefore she had her. I'm just gesturing so you get the gist of what I'm talking about without getting me in trouble. But because of that, she was then refused service because she wasn't biologically female. So and this was in 2021. So it's a very long time ago. And so there was this lawsuit battle happening. And it's still ongoing, even though things have come out about Jessica. Like she has targeted young adolescents online. She's groomed teenagers. She's exposed other people to her, and things like that. So she's a very troubled individual, and I personally think that the waxing parlour should win the lawsuit. Considering that body dysphoria can be a symptom of depression, because with depression it is a form you can suffer a form of dissociation from yourself, because there's something because they have actually proven medically that you can have a poor chemistry in the brain that causes depression, body dysphoria. Like, I have body dysphoria, and that is down to a chemical reaction in the brain that I was born with. And I actually did have a moment where I did think I was trans myself, because I couldn't. There was just something biologically wrong, that I with that was actually causing me to disassociate from my biological body. And having researched into it, because I've got a congenial hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism can actually contribute to body dysphoria, gender dysphoria, depression. It can create all these symptoms. And this is why I am actually myself on hormonal therapy or replacement therapy, because my medical condition actually causes a chemical and hormonal imbalances. So I was literally born with this condition, and even though I'm even though at the moment they don't consider my condition a form of intersex, I could be classed as medically intersex due to hormonal imbalances, even though I identify as a woman. I have actually managed to overcome my body dysphoria. I'm literally, God made me a woman, and that was how I am. But no, my medical conditions made it complicated. Tonight. No, not anymore. No, well, 10 years ago, yes, it was happening, but not anymore. No, because I've wrapped my head round the fact about what's happening to me. And something actually will mention while you're on here, Moxley, is that I'm not sure whether you're trans female, trans male at all, but they have actually found with certain trans individuals, specifically trans male, they can actually develop hypothyroidism due to the hormonal the HRT. So I would advise getting yourself checked out or regularly checked over. Okay. At the time, no, because when this was all happening, I was an atheist or an agnostic atheist. So no, I didn't. But now I am with God. I have, He's helped me overcome it. Was big back in 2010. What was big back in 2010? Oh yeah, yeah. I became a goth in 2009, so 16 years ago. Twitching. Um, okay. I know that there is a gothic community in Birmingham, but at this present moment, I want to avoid Birmingham because of what's going on over there. It's because recently we had somebody get unalived just for waiting at the bus stop. It's not safe. I mean, I did actually go there the other week, and it was like the eye of the storm kind of thing, where it was just this lull, and it was fine. But now it's just kicked off again. I'm scared. I've been done this. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, you probably find that skaters, punks, they stop being skaters, punks aesthetically. That they stop wearing the clothes. I'll never stop wearing the clothes, um, but they still listen to the music. Because I literally just have days where I don't dress up at all. I just listen to the music because I'm like, I'm not going out. I don't want to go out. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had cider. Because I used to do it at college, which was even longer than that. Like, yeah, me and a few mates used to go to the beach because they would have this little barbecue area, and we would just be drinking. Which is it's a bad thing to say because I'm an Latter-day Saint. I don't advocate for drinking. I'm just saying this is what I used to do. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Kel. Oh, ouch. Oh, my leg. Ow. Hi, Truth. You're right. Um, I was a social drinker anyway. So when I did drink, it was only like for social situations. I would literally go out drinking with friends, and then and that'll be like once every other month. So I literally would go days, weeks, months without touching any form of alcohol. And if I was drinking at home, it would be a glass a day. But it can be hard, especially when you're severely stressed. I did recently because there's a shop. There's a what do they call it? Um, there's a health shop near to where I am that does actually non-alcoholic mulled wine, mulled fruit juices. Um, and I was under stress. I thought, I need a drink. I need a drink. And then the store came up, and I thought, oh, non-alcoholic mulled wine, I'll go for that. So I bought a bottle of non-alcoholic real wine, and it hit the spot, even though there was no alcohol in it. Um, yeah, it's tougher for people that they go out drinking regularly. Yeah, it was fine. It was spicy. So, I can't remember what it's called. I'll find out the name, and if you come, because I do the lives over the weekend, so tomorrow and Sunday as well. So if you come back on, I'll find out the name of it. It's really nice. But yeah, it's harder for people to stop drinking if they are heavy drinkers or they're more regular drinkers. Whilst if you're more of a social drinker, it's easier. It's like when somebody's a regular smoker, it's harder to stop or to wean yourself off, because it's become like a second nature habit to you. So it depends on the person. However, like with caffeine, because obviously LDS, like, there's the word of wisdom where it's the no caffeinated drinks or the hot caffeinated drinks. Some people struggle with coffee because they're used to drinking it. However, there are actually cases where members are actually medicated coffee because it has medical properties for specific medical conditions that require it, because it's not just the caffeine, it's got other things in it that's actually beneficial to you. I mean, everything's healthy in moderation kind of thing, but they can't actually participate in the word of wisdom fully because of that medication of coffee. Yeah, I mean, the sad thing is that even with non-alcoholic cocktails, as much as they're really lovely to have, I find that they have bumped the prices up on non-alcoholic drinks because it's become a niche, and it's becoming more popular now. And obviously, when something becomes more popular, they bump up the prices, and then it means that it keeps alcoholic stuff lower. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the conditions that is useful for. Yeah, especially if you've got like severe migraines. But that's one of the occasions where if you are medically prescribed caffeine, there's nothing the church can do, because that is your medication for it. And they respect when like medical conditions and things. So as long as you with the other word of wisdom provisos, as long as you're doing those, you're fine. It's like, this is a couple of years ago now, but I had to break the word of wisdom once. Because I had neck pain so severe that no painkiller was touching it, and it was down to sheer stress. It's because my muscles all the way down my neck were just so uptight, and I took a bottle of wine. I had a glass of wine, drank it down, and the pain went away straight away and didn't come back all night. And it didn't come back all day the following day either. And that was the only time I broke the word of wisdom. Because, I was literally left with nothing else to take. Because I literally had taken the strongest painkiller, which is cocodamol. and just wasn't touching it, but the alcohol did, which is not good. I'm not advertising it, but I was so desperate to take the pain off. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, medically everything is fine in moderation. Like, which this goes down to food, drinks, things like that. Everything's fine in moderation. It's just originally when it all got put together, the word of wisdom was specifically for Sundays. So you came to church sober, so you didn't smoke, you didn't smoke, you didn't drink alcohol, you didn't have any form of stimulant prior up until Saturday night. So you were literally sober for Sunday, and then because originally Emma and Joseph Smith, they said whatever you do outside the church, you do outside the church. Like Joseph Smith, he smoked. He was a drinker. He would have wine or beer. I'm not sure. Can't remember. And then he would drink coffee at home. And then I found out that there were early members of the church that were actually complaining at him, saying, "You're telling us not to do this and this, but you're doing that." And he was trying to explain, this is specifically for Sundays. And I said, what you do at home is up completely to your discretion. But then that's when they introduced it, just doing it for all day, every day kind of thing. So it meant that there was no contention. It was just literally just rule everything out. But obviously there were exceptions to the rule, as I mentioned, like with the medicated caffeine and things like that. I'm going to be heading off now because it's coming up for 12 and I usually cut off at 12. So thank you for everyone that came on tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. It'll be a normal live, so it'll be religious Q&A and other topics other than politics. Obviously, if you want to talk about politics, that's fine. But it'll just be normal. Okay, good night. See you guys tomorrow. Bye. I'm just about to head off, Jeff. See you later.